Early on Sunday morning, Israel hit several targets in Lebanon, saying it had detected Hezbollah activity and feared the group was preparing for an attack. Israel claimed its army had acted preemptively in self-defense.
A short while ago, the IDF identified Hezbollah terrorist organization preparing to fire missiles, rockets towards Israeli territory. In a self-defense act to remove these threats, the IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians.
Around 100 jets struck over 40 Hezbollah launch sites. In response, Hezbollah launched a large-scale attack on Israel, firing over 320 Katyusha rockets and drones in the first strike. The group struck at least 11 Israeli military targets in retaliation for Israel's assassination of its senior military commander, Fouad Shukr, who was killed on July 30 in Beirut. Hezbollah's leader, Syed Hassan Nasrallah, expressed satisfaction with the successful targeting of Israeli military and intelligence sites. Following the attack, Israel issued a warning to its citizens about rocket and drone threats and declared a 48-hour nationwide state of emergency. The government also granted the military authority to restrict public gatherings and close locations as deemed necessary. Flights to and from Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport were temporarily suspended for 90 minutes. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a security cabinet meeting and warned that whoever harms us will harm him.
להנחיות פיקוד העורף, אנחנו נחושים לעשות הכל כדי להגן על המדינה שלנו, להחזיר את תושבי הצפון בבטחה לבתיהם, ולהמשיך לקיים כלל פשוט. מי שפוגע בנו, אנחנו פוגעים בו.
The conflict between the Israeli Defense Forces and the Lebanese militia, Hezbollah, has existed for decades, affecting both sides of the Israeli border with Lebanon. Hezbollah is widely regarded as Israel's biggest enemy. Hezbollah wields significant influence in Lebanon, and the group has grown from a small militia to a powerful military and political force in the Middle East. When Lebanon gained independence from France in 1943, political power was distributed among religious sects according to their size, with the three largest groups receiving the most influence: Shia Muslims, Sunni Muslims, and Christians. However, the arrival of displaced Palestinians in 1948 boosted the Sunni Muslim population, intensifying sectarian tensions. In the 1970s, a political and armed group emerged, fighting for Shia rights. Other groups, including Palestinian factions, were also competing for power and had established a presence in southern Lebanon. By 1975, these groups turned against each other, leading to the outbreak of civil war. In 1979, Iran was facing the aftermath of a revolution that had installed Ayatollah Khomeini as Iran's first supreme leader of the Islamic Republic. Khomeini wanted to unify Islamic groups throughout the Middle East. During the Lebanon Civil War, Iran saw an opportunity to expand its influence in the region and began funding and training young Shia militants to fight with Israeli troops in Lebanon. By the mid-1980s, a group of Shia fighters, supported by Iran, came together to fight Israeli forces, adapting the name Hezbollah, the Party of God. In 1985, Hezbollah declared in a manifesto their commitment to fighting Israel and the West, while also advocating for the establishment of an Islamic regime. At the end of the Lebanese Civil War in 1990, Hezbollah and its allies emerged as significant political players, securing between 12 and 18 seats in Lebanon's parliament. Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah, a Shia cleric, has led Hezbollah since 1992. He has strong ties to Iran and its supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Nasrallah has not appeared in public for years due to concerns that he will be assassinated by Israel, but he continues to address his followers through weekly televised speeches. Hezbollah played a crucial role in driving Israeli forces out of Lebanon in 2000, which significantly enhanced its political influence. Since 2005, Hezbollah has held positions in the Lebanese cabinet, and in 2009, it revised its manifesto to advocate for true democracy instead of the establishment of an Islamic state. At this point, Hezbollah is an important force in the region. Iran supplies it with weapons, and it maintains good relations with Syria. Over the past 2 decades, it has periodically fired rockets and launched raids into northern Israel. In 2006, Hezbollah went to war with Israel in response to Israel's ground operation in Gaza, which lasted 34 days. According to a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, while Hassan Nasrallah claims the group has 100,000 fighters, independent estimates suggest the number is more likely to be between 20,000 and 50,000. Hezbollah is believed to possess 120,000 to 200,000 rockets and missiles, including anti-aircraft and anti-ship missiles, with some capable of striking deep into Israel. This arsenal is considered more advanced than that of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. But the group does not just engage in militancy. Over the years, Hezbollah has delivered social services, operated schools, hospitals, and infrastructure projects, and provided training for farmers in Lebanon. This extensive involvement has helped Hezbollah position itself as an alternative to the Lebanese government. Hezbollah has long-standing ties with Hamas since both share a view of Israel as their adversary. They began exchanging fire with Israel on October 8 following recent attacks. Since October 7, Hezbollah launched over 8,000 rockets at Israel, utilizing anti-tank missiles and explosive drones. In response, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, carried out airstrikes and artillery bombardments targeting Hezbollah positions in Lebanon. The ongoing conflict has resulted in significant casualties and displacement. According to Lebanon's health ministry, over 560 people have been killed, including 133 civilians. Meanwhile, Israeli authorities report 26 civilian deaths and 23 soldier fatalities. The violence has forced nearly 200,000 people on both sides of the border to flee their homes. According to a report by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, there is a serious risk for war with Hezbollah because the group is more equipped and more powerful than it was in the past. After the 2006 war between Hezbollah and Israel, UN Security Council Resolution 1701 created a demilitarized zone between the Blue Line and the Litani River along the borders of Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. The binding agreement says the area should be free from armed personnel, assets, and weapons except for those of the government of Lebanon and the UN Interim Force in Lebanon. The resolution also calls for both sides to move their forces into less hostile positions, and places Lebanon under an arms embargo. Hezbollah and Israel have repeatedly violated UN Security Council resolutions, escalating tensions between them. This is hardly the first UN resolution that has been violated, given that the organization is largely seen as impotent in the region. According to experts, neither side has faced significant damage after the recent attacks, and both have managed to retain their operational capacities. And while both the Israeli Defense Forces and Hezbollah have supporters within their own countries, most civilians would not favor a wider war.